one of the best pieces of advice I got early on is, if you're a product company, servicize. If you're a service company, productize. And so follow that mantra. That was unbelievable.
Welcome to the Amplify Your Business podcast, where we dive deep into the stories of inspiring entrepreneurs who have turned challenges into opportunities and built thriving businesses. Today, I'm thrilled to introduce Theresa Caragol, the founder and CEO of Achieve Unite, Inc., a leading consultancy and education firm that empowers businesses to excel in strategic partnerships and channel development. Theresa is a sought-after expert in the field of partner management with a wealth of experience in building and scaling successful partnerships across diverse industries. She is also a passionate advocate for women in business, empowering them to reach their full potential through mentorship and leadership development programs. In this episode, we'll explore Theresa's journey from a successful corporate career to founding her own company, the challenges she faced along the way, and her strategies for building trust-based partnerships. We'll also delve into her insights on the importance of diversity and inclusion in the workplace, as well as her commitment to empowering women in business. Whether you're a seasoned entrepreneur or just starting out on your entrepreneurial journey, Theresa's insights will provide valuable guidance and inspiration. So let's dive deep into the world of strategic partnerships and learn from this remarkable leader who has transitioned and transformed the way businesses connect and collaborate. Welcome to the show, Theresa.
Thank you. I'm delighted to be here. And thank you for that amazing introduction. I loved it.
I tell you, when you have a guest on who is as accomplished as you are, it's not going to be a short bio or a short intro, because you've done a lot. You've helped a lot of businesses. And this is the thing that I just love about being the host, is to be able to showcase people like you who are just really going to empower people to take action in their businesses and really make a difference in the world.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that. I'm just thrilled to be here and to chat with you today.
Okay, so before we get into your journey and your expertise, I'd love to get a little bit better understanding as to what it is that you do over at Achieve Unite. Can you tell us a little bit more about basically the purpose, who you serve, the solutions that you offer, that kind of thing?
Well, we are the Partnering Success Company. So Achieve Unite, the Partnering Success Company. And by the way, this book has been out since September. In about 2 weeks ago, it hit the bestseller in 24 categories in business, all related to partnering.
Okay, wait a minute. In 20 plus categories, bestseller. This is incredible. Congratulations.
I know. I feel really blessed and just so proud of our team and the work that, our clients and the industries. It's fabulous. So, and it's just the beginning.
Yes.
But our company really focuses on partnering success, and we focus in 3 areas. So one is around helping organizations accelerate their partnering strategy, helping them accelerate their programs, helping them get the right model to be successful, get their executives aligned around partnering. So that's number one. Number 2 is the people, because, okay, great, we can have a great strategy, we can have a great initiative, but if we don't have our people, all the way from the executives to the individual contributors on the street, going out successfully, then we're not going to be successful. So number 2 is the people. And we do a lot of training programs and development programs and initiatives. You'll read about our trust psychometric index, and anyway, all kinds of stuff in that domain. And then the third area that we focus on is programs. We do annual events. We do programs where we bring organizations together and they go through a methodology to accelerate their partnering. So we do a number of different growth programs in the third bucket.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of fun. I have an amazing team of all very seasoned professionals and experts in this domain that I'm super proud of.
That's really good. Now, the type of businesses that you work with, what are we talking about in terms of industries or in terms of size and so on?
Well, we grew up in the tech industry. So our predominant set of clients, but remember, tech is so big. So we have security clients, we have SaaS clients, we have hardware clients, we have telecom clients. We have all of these different clients in that space, as well as the distributors and the partners. But over the last 2 years, we've really expanded outside of tech. So you'll see us in working with label companies, working with people, HR outsourcing organizations, doing nonprofits. We're working with associations with our AI solutions. We're doing a ton in this partnering success AI space. And so I think that's going to be increasing as we market. Yeah.
I bet, right? I mean, that's just exploding in terms of the attention that people are applying to that sector, right?
Yeah. So it's an exciting time. And I think this is going to be a big year for Achieve Unite.
Yeah. So now I'd like to have you kind of go back, I guess, a little bit in time in terms of, like, I'm sure that you didn't come out of college or university or whatever path you took to get to where you're at now and go, you know what, strategic partnering, this is actually the thing that I'm going to focus on. So I'm guessing there's a story in here where maybe you had some sort of an aha moment when you realized the immense potential that partnering for business growth, what can come from that. So can you share with me, this aha moment that you maybe had, or how you really got into this?
That's so funny. I remember it was my second job it was my third job out of college. And I had moved to Wisconsin, and I was covering Illinois and Wisconsin, and I was a sales rep for Bay Networks. And I think I'm a year and a half, 2 years out, and I open up this magazine in the tech industry, and it says Global Channel Chiefs, top global channel chiefs. And it has all these boys, all men. And I was like, I'm going to be one of these someday.
Yeah.
And I can remember where I was. I had just bought my first house. I was sitting in the house. Like, I can remember that happening. And lo and behold, I think 6 years later, I became, I had my first global channel role at maybe it was longer than that, early 30s. And, and that was amazing. And I went on to have just some amazing corporate careers at Sienna and Extreme Networks, Nortel before that, which prepared me, I think, to then go on and have 2 little boys and out of necessity not want to run around the globe and leave them so much. And then, that's when I became an entrepreneur. And initially I started consulting, and then I was like, wait a minute, if boys can build companies, I can build a company. And the rest is history. Great. And that's what we did. And so I'm very proud again of the people that are on the journey with us. And it's just an amazing team. And I love the work that we do for our clients, and the work that we do for people, and the work that we do for partnerships.
So what made you decide, though, that partnerships and helping businesses foster these channel partnerships and so on was really going to be the tag that you were going to hang your hat on? Why
first
that?
of all, I'm a geek, so I love to study all of this stuff. I love to study routes to market. Ever since I was a global leader, a channel leader, I said, partnering needs to be at the CEO. I mean, I was telling my CEO 20 years ago that partnering needed to be at the CEO table. And people were like, really? But it does. And it is a force multiplier. And, fast forward, we now have a science to how to do it right in organizations. Yeah. And, this is a result of all of our client engagements. It's a result of experts that have supported and helped build the intellectual property and the science to this along the way, that now we do know how to do this right.
Yeah. Well, and I just love the timing in terms of having you as a guest on their show, because I'm in the middle of building out a partner channel strategy for my company as well. And so I'm going to use this opportunity to really pick your brain and get into some of those strategic things that are going to help me, but also obviously our listeners. But before I do that, one of the things that you say in your book, The Power of Strategic Partnerships, you emphasize building trust as the foundation for successful collaborations. Mm-hmm. And I'm just wondering, how can entrepreneurs foster that genuine trust with whoever their potential partner is going to be, especially in the early stages of that relationship, right? Because I think the key here is probably build super strong relationships, build that trust, and then start to enter into those discussions about partnering, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think so a couple of thoughts. One is the trust piece. Up until, we launched our psychometric index that measures trust. Trust was kind of an esoteric thing. It's like, what is it? How do you measure it? What do you do? And so I really talk about there's 2 types of trust. There's individual trust and there's organization trust. And individual trust, organization trust is built on individual trust. So learning in your own organization how people build trust, learning how to accelerate trust, learning how you build trust, Lance, versus your team, because there are 5 profiles of how people build trust, and all of us have a dominant way, and we're not the same. And that's what PQI teaches. So every organization on the planet, I encourage you to learn PQI, it's like the love language of business. It's the body language. It's another language that you can use to talk about your trust building. And it's easy to grasp. It's easy to understand. So anyway, that I think is really important, is for everybody in your teams to understand how to do the trust thing. And then as you go to partner, you've got to segment, what do you want out of partnerships? What do you need? On page 166 in the book, we have an exercise to show you, like, who are the types of organizations, groups that you need to have as your community, because partnerships often evolve out of communities, right? Or vice versa. So look at these communities and say, what do I need to prioritize? What do I want out of these? That will guide what your strategy should be in partnerships. And I promise you, every single organization from 100,000 and up, like, you need to be thinking about partnering from the beginning. And I think the people and the companies that do that will go faster and be more successful later. And we have evidence of that over and over and over again with SaaS companies, for sure. I watch the ones that try to do it alone and they fail. And I watch the ones that go with an ecosystem from the start and they rock.
Yeah. Yeah. And this is the thing I want our listeners to really understand, is that, like anything, I mean, it's no surprise, you have to be strategic in order to get the results that you desire, right? And
Right.
this is not something that is a word that should be just tossed around in terms of, yeah, you know what, you have to build trust relationships, right? It's something that you have to be intentional about. And I love the science. I love getting into the geekiness of the science behind what you said was, the 5 different profiles and so on. That's fascinating, because I don't think probably there's a person on this, who are listening to this right now, who probably have gone through an exercise and discovered 5 different types of trust and which one matches me. And like you said, the love languages of business. So be very, very intentional about leveraging the science, and then create the strategy right from the get-go, that this has to be part of your growth strategy. This has to be a part of the DNA of your business, right?
100%. And, we now have PQI practitioners, people who are building PQI into their own businesses and taking it into the market. And, I think that there is a real opportunity to leverage trust, and really think about it as a deliberate strategy in your own organization. I have a very high trust culture. I'm very proud of the people we attract, very low ego, very high team oriented individuals. And, and it just works in our company. And but it has evolved over time.
Yeah. Yeah. Now you work with a lot of different businesses, right? You've seen a lot of success. You've probably seen some that, the execution maybe wasn't there or whatever, and the success didn't come because of that. So when it comes to the successful ones, developing a successful partnership, thinking back to, an example of a business that you've recently worked with, what would be some of the key strategies that you really start working with them on? Like, where do they begin that journey? Because I'd imagine there's a lot of people that are sitting here going, okay, well, wait a minute. This sounds a little bit more complicated than what I thought, because I thought it was, relatively straightforward. I just build some trust relationships. I'm an authentic guy. I have, I'm honest, I have integrity and so on. And I'm going to have conversation with people. And then, but again, you got to be strategic about it. So where do they start, and how do they get rolling down this path of building a strong partnership?
Well, in the book, in chapter 1, we actually talk about the 7 core principles for successful partnering ecosystem. So I'll do a few of them just to get people thinking. One is the degree to which you are deliberate about a strategy, and the degree to which you have a plan is the degree to which later you are successful and you have the right strategy. So getting, placing some bets, being very focused and smart about the bets you're placing and why and how and what you need out of it and ... is really, really important. And again, it doesn't matter if you're a 2 million or a 200 million or a 2 billion or a 200 billion. Like they're all, it has to happen at every level. And the 200 millions and the 2 billions are redoing strategies with us because it didn't work. So there's iterations of this, depending on size. I know most of your listeners are in the small entrepreneur category, but all of this applies there. The second thing is it starts with the CEO. Partnering is, you can't go, oh, I just want somebody to go dabble in it. Like, it starts with Lance. Lance needs to be very deliberate about his partnering and the company, and not creating conflict inside of the organization. There's a lot of things you need to do at the beginning so that partnering works. The trust thing is critical. The trusted relationships and a really focused business plan. We have a quadrant, and you can measure, like, am I just a business influencer? Am I just a friend? Or am I really establishing a trusted partnership that's going to be driven by growth? And you can plot yourself based on your answers to the questions. And, that's really important. So I got to get a plan. We've got to be unified on the plan, and we've got to be committed to it. And then the trust and all of those things also get accelerated.
Are you encouraging people to have like the channel partnership agreement to be very, detailed and almost like contractual, or are these more, I guess, friendly, less formal relationships that are not necessarily articulated like a contract would be?
I think that is a big, it depends. And it depends on the size of your organization. It depends on the types of partners you're looking for and the number of partners you're looking for. It depends on where, what you want out of those. It depends on your product offering, so a lot of that is really, and it depends. And it could go from, no matter what, you always need a contract. You always need an MOU at a minimum, no matter what, you always need trusted relationships. And you always need a plan, so there's some fundamentals, but the degree to which those get specific and detailed is based on complexity of your go-to-market, your size, ...
Yeah, I think, as somebody told me once, they said a good paper makes good for good friends, right? And making sure that at the very least you have that MOU so that people understand what the parameters are and what to expect.
And the flip side of that is a good partnership based on good trust will never use the paper,
Exactly.
So that's sort of the dichotomy of this. But you probably have to have both.
Yeah, because the biggest obstacle, I think, to success is lack of clarity in what the expectations are on either side of the fence, right?
Yes, exactly. That's very, very true. And those change over time, right? So how do we build a cadence and make it important enough that we're both talking about it in 30 days or 90 days?
So with channel partners, are every channel partner arrangement that you're helping businesses, strategize around, is there a financial element to those partnerships, or in some cases is it non-financial? I'm curious.
Look, it is, here's what I've learned and I would say that I have changed my opinion on this over the last maybe 8 years being an entrepreneur. I used to say, oh, you know what? Let's just have a referral agreement. We don't need currency. You know what? Currency matters. I would say financial matters. I love my partnerships where we have a cross referral, and on the balance sheet at the end of the year, I say, wow, look at this. We paid X amount of dollars out for referrals. They paid X amount of dollars to us for referrals. So I like currency. I think now there are times where currency might be something different. Currency might be people, access to an audience. So it may not be a financial currency. It might be another currency. It might be a trust currency. I built my brand because I had access and participated in some of these other things. So currency isn't always financial, but there needs to be a currency. And I would say err on building them with financials involved from the beginning.
Yeah. And I know, like, for myself, when I've been trying to think through, okay, so how am I going to do this? I also don't want it to be some big administrative burden to try to manage as well, and track and so on. So do you have any suggestions in terms of how to really keep it simple but effective? Is there tools, or are there resources out there? Is there strategies that you would recommend?
I mean, if you're early stage, like you can use your website, you can use your HubSpot, you can use your basic tenants, a spreadsheet, these basic things. You can use QuickBooks, you can use your basic systems. And then there comes a point where you really build an ecosystem, you're growing, and you probably do need to have some sort of a partner relationship management, access and ecosystem manager. But that comes along with maturity, because the flip side is I see all these companies at our size, these SaaS companies, and these 50, 100, 200 million, and they go buy a PRM and think, okay, great, I'm going to have partners now. They're all going to come to me. And that never, ever, ever, ever works. So, you got to pick your technology based on your plan, based on your strategy, based on your success, not the other way around.
Yeah. And would you agree, like, don't overcomplicate it in the early days? Like you said, maybe that spreadsheet is all you need to start. And then as your program starts to roll out, you start to build those relationships. The complexity of the transactions start to increase, the volume increases. So then it's like, okay, now you can justify it, but don't go out and invest big time in something that might not even be the right fit for you, right?
May not even be the right fit. The thing that I will tell you though with partnering is the whole reason you're going to partner in the first place is to move out of a one-to-one dynamic, right?
Yeah.
A one-to-one, we call it partner lifetime value, and it's the exponential force multiplier of, if I have a partnership there over the customer lifetime value, I buy 10 Mercedes over the course of my lifetime, right? So I'm a pretty good customer of Mercedes, right? Partner lifetime value is customer lifetime value on steroids. I work with Lance and I have access to hundreds of customers and partners that are going to take PQI into their market. So that's partner lifetime value on steroids. So I have to have a way to communicate to more than one person. So you have to be able to build trust at scale with partnering. So yes, we want to keep it simple, but I have to have systems and tools in place to be able to build communications, to be able to interact at more than one-to-one. Otherwise, I might as well just go directly and be a customer and work one-to-one. Does that make any sense?
Yeah,
Okay.
totally. And that's exactly the reason why I've been wanting to build out a partner strategy, is because of that one to many, right? It's the multiplier effect of my efforts.
The multiplier effect.
Yeah,
Exactly. Yeah. That's right. The force multiplier of exponential growth.
Yeah. Now, there's a lot of stuff that's going on in the world today, in the world of business. Lots of disruption. We've got AI, we've got different types of business automation tools and stuff that are just coming out rapidly. There's socioeconomic trends, political trends, and everything else that's happening. What emerging trends are you seeing right now that is going to have an impact on strategic partnerships? Like, is there anything that we should be, as entrepreneurs, kind of watching or monitoring on the horizon, because you think that it's going to have a significant impact in that strategy around partnerships?
Well, first, we just published our 2025 partnering success trends. So maybe when you publish this, we can show a link to that. And it's got the top 10 trends for partnering. And one of those is I see a resurgence in strategic alliances. So I see a resurgence in organization to organization, much deeper level of partnering, as opposed to I'm going to have 20 of these, I'm going to have one, and it's going to get integrated through my whole company with their whole company. And that is going to be a big thing over the next several years. So I think we're seeing that this trust currency is only increasing, even with the advent of political climates, and the need to understand, build, maintain, deepen trust is becoming a much bigger thing. And it's starting to, journalists told me 2 years ago that we were way ahead of our time with PQI because it wasn't a market yet. It's now becoming a market. And so, PQI, EQ, IQ, your PQ, your partnering quotient index, your ability to build and maintain and develop trust, I think that is really becoming a thing. Anyway, and there's some other trends that we could talk about, but if anybody wants to take a look at that, and I'm happy to answer questions as well.
Yeah, and like, just to build upon that a little bit, I'd like to share some of my thoughts, because as I was thinking through the strategy, the reason why I really wanted to put some emphasis some resources with my time and some resources internally of our company to try to build this out and really manage this well, is when I'm looking at the trends that like AI, the impact that it's going to have in the overall marketing of businesses, that's going to really disrupt SEO, because from a search engine
Absolutely.
optimization standpoint, there's going to be so much content out there that's getting created. So it's going to be really difficult to cut through the noise, because AI, anybody can write an article now and post it as a blog. So that's going to be a little bit more, it's a busier place to try to get to the top of that list. But then also on the other side of things is when I'm going in and Googling something. Now Google is using, those AI answers, which are just spitting out the actual answer, as opposed to sending me a list of potential places that I could click on and go and find the answer for myself on those pages, right? So it's just grabbing
Right.
it and giving it to me.
Yeah.
So the traffic that's going to be generated from search is going to be lower. And then there's also a bunch of alternative AI purposed search tools, and they're getting incorporated into every one of the, the chat windows of AI as well. So
Yeah.
I think the volume of AI is going to decrease. And so then what's going to happen, or sorry, the volume of SEO traffic is going to decrease. So then people are going to have to rely a little bit more on other traffic sources. I think the first thing that people are going to go to is they're going to go, okay, well, shoot, I need to jump in and start doing some digital advertising more, shift my budget over there. And then that's going to drive the cost of the ad placements up. So now we're going to be in a situation where it's like, they're going to be more expensive per click and per conversion and so on. So then they'll start to look at alternatives. And I think where they're going to go is going to be into, the social influencer kind of arena, where that is, again, talk about the trust relationship, right? So they've curated an audience of people who trust their opinions on things, and so they're using them to kind of filter through the noise.
Yeah.
And I think
Absolutely.
this is directly related to what you're focused on, right? Because every one of those partners, I'd imagine, that you're trying to get secured is somebody who has a sphere of influence,
Yeah.
however big. I mean, it might only be an influence with 10 people, but those 10 people that they influence are going to be
Absolutely.
your core demographic that you want to target,
Advisor.
right?
Yeah. The other thing that I see in this AI realm that I think is really important is the companies who have deep intellectual property, and we have an AI platform. It has all of our intellectual property. The kinds of things we can do now for clients is off the charts. It's so unique and different, and it's because it's not the stuff that is out in the ether. It's your very protected IP. And so that domain becomes even more important
Yeah.
and deepening that. And I'm really excited. We're going to be making an announcement on an acquisition we're making, and we're doing a lot of work in this space to really be the AI partnering success company.
That's really cool. So
It's really exciting.
I'm not too sure if you can share anything at this point, but I'd love to better understand how you're leveraging AI in helping your clients build those trust relationships quickly and build that partnership.
We're leveraging it in a few ways. So one is we may do a whole engagement. We just finished a big competitive benchmark for a big tech company. We put all of the information, combined it with our information so that they can ask questions on an ongoing basis and get scenarios run using the AI, their private AI instance, and information to that. We are opening, when we do all of our training programs now, we include our AI engine so that they can do their business plan, they can do their capstones, they can do all of it in a private instance of their AI engine.
Love it.
We are now offering clients. So if you said, you know what, I want to couple your expertise with my expertise and have a new way to go to the market and offer something new to clients, we're doing that. And you could do it with ours, or we could feed your instance and you could have your own Lance Johnson instance of marketing excellence coupled with partnering success. So think about the new kinds of offers that we will become available to clients in this domain. And
Love it.
yeah, it's really exciting.
That is really exciting. Yeah, it's just this is the thing. It's disruptive, right? Which means that
It's
directly means there's
opportunity.
opportunities. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
That's really
And
cool.
and by the way, all of our platform has PQI. It's the same platform that uses PQI. So we're getting integrated into a big tech company's portal. We can now offer all of their partners PQI workshops and experiences. And we can look at their partnering ecosystem and look at how they build trust across their organizations. Can you imagine the science and the data that you can learn by doing stuff like that?
Yeah, yeah, that's exciting. So I'm really curious. So one of the challenges I've been having is when I think about, okay, so who are some of the potential partners that I should really be focusing on? And so I have a marketing business, and so there are people in all different kinds of industries, all different kinds of positions and roles, and so on. So as individuals, but then as far as partnering with companies, um, you know every business that offers some sort of service has a relationship with another business. It could potentially be a partner, but I can't target everybody, so I need to narrow that down. So what advice do you give to people in terms of, okay, so identifying the right partners to partner with, or to
Yeah.
start to try to build those relationships with?
So we have a quadrant and a segmentation matrix in the book, and I would really think about, the potential axis and the performance axis. So what do you want your partners to do? What do you want to have happen if you're successful in the potential? What do you need them to perform? Do you need them to drive $1 million of business with you? Do you need them to bring you 5 leads a year? What do you need to have happen for success? And then you plot that out and you start to put companies into where they would fit based on their ability to drive what your goals are. And, that is really important, because getting the clarity of what you want and need in this first year of partnering is the degree to which you're going to be successful later, because you're going to pick better. You're going to be clear with the partners of what they want and what you want. The goals are going to align. You're going to be able to do this, not this. And that is where the magic's going to happen.
Yeah, I think that's really smart. So before we get into the last question I want to ask you, I'm sure there's going to be people who are listening who are like, okay, I need to get more information about what it is that Theresa and her team are doing. Where should we be sending people?
You can send them to achieveunite.com. I would encourage you to buy the book, Partnering Success, on Amazon, and then you can come back to us if you have questions or comments. You can email me at Theresa@achieveunite.com as well, THERESA. And any of those would be fabulous. And you can follow me on LinkedIn or Achieve Unite on LinkedIn as well.
Yeah, I think that's how we connected, right? Was on LinkedIn. And so you're definitely putting out some really great content there. So recommend people follow Theresa over there. Okay, so looking ahead, what advice would you give to aspiring entrepreneurs or those who are in the earlier stages of their business, who are eager to explore, the power of strategic partnerships to amplify their business growth? So looking ahead, what would you give them if you had a single piece of advice?
I'm probably going to give a few pieces. One would be, look at your IP, build intellectual property. One of the best pieces of advice I got early on is, if you're a product company, servicize. If you're a service company, productize. And so follow that mantra. That was unbelievable. Secondly, figure out your AI strategy. How are you going to use AI? To your point around not making marketing a cost center, but a revenue center, how can AI be a revenue center in tandem with you? We're glad to help you with that if it's related to partnering. And then third is figure out who your partners. Start from the ground knowing you need 1 or 2 partners. If you're super small, maybe you need 3 to 5 if you're over $1 million, and then you need to have an ecosystem if you're above 2, and be deliberate about that.
Great advice. Wonderful. I appreciate you taking the time out of your busy day to share your knowledge, your expertise with our audience today, Theresa. Thank you so much.
Oh, I really enjoyed it. You were a great interviewer, and you had some incredible nuggets along the way too. So thanks a lot.
Awesome. So if you enjoyed this episode, folks, and you want to check out more expert advice as well as the stories of entrepreneurs who are just killing it out there, and you want to learn to grow your business more successfully here in 2025, head over to amplifyyourbusiness.ca. That's where you're going to find our archive. And of course, if you prefer the audio version, then you can check out us the show Amplify Your Business by searching the name in any of the major podcasting platforms out there. So look for Amplify Your Business. Until next time, everybody have a prosperous day.